birds were singing sweetly. It was the makings of a beautiful day, but the women's hearts were heavy as they walked along that road, carrying their spices and the perfumes in the jars. The aromas and the fragrance was leaking from the jars, and Mary could smell it. And it took her right back to that time, that evening. The evening that she had gone to the Pharisee's house. She went there to see him. She just wanted to say thank you because he had set her free. She had tried to hold it all together. But when she saw him, she lost it. She was just crying uncontrollably. You know, that gut-wrenching, face-uglifying crying. You know? We're like, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. And her tears just kept coming and coming and coming. And she felt like the floor around her was wet. And when she looked down, she realized it was her tears that had soaked a puddle on the floor. It had soaked his feet. It had soaked the garment that he was wearing. And so she gathered up her hair and she tried to dry it up and mop up the tears. And then she'd taken out her perfume. It was the most expensive and precious thing she owned. And she poured it all out on his feet. The whole lot. And the smell and the fragrance that filled that Pharisee's house, it was so evasive and pervasive and strong. It was wonderful. And it went up into the nostrils of the Pharisees. What is she doing? Doesn't she realize that if she sold that perfume, she could make a lot of money and give it all to the poor? Doesn't she realize that? Yes, quite so. Quite so. I mean, doesn't he realize who, or should I say what, is touching him? Yes, she is unclean. She's a sinner. And all the eyes of the Pharisees were staring at Mary, but she didn't seem to be aware of them. She poured that perfume out and then she looked up into Jesus' face and he smiled at her. And pure love and pure joy, it radiated out of him like the warm summer sun, and it filled her heart. And she felt free. It was the same way he'd looked at her when he first met her in her deepest, darkest, most shameful moments. He'd looked at her like that. And Mary remembered it as she smelt the spices and perfumes in her hands right now, walking on that road. But now she was going to pour this perfume onto his body that was dead. Jesus' dead, lifeless body. How can that be? What? How can he be dead? What do you mean, Mary? Well, how can he really? He's the Son of God. How is he dead? How can he really be dead? He just is. Are you losing your mind? No, I'm just saying he's the Savior. How can he be dead? Well, he is. We saw him hanging on the cross. He's dead, Mary. I'm just saying, how can he be dead? Shh. But no. Mary, it's too painful. No. Fine. And so they walked along in silence, just the gentle clink, clink, clink of the jars of spices and perfume. Whoa. Did you feel that? No, I didn't, Mary. What did you feel this time? I felt the ground shake, all right? Whoa, did you feel that? Yes, I felt that. What is that? the ground. It shook and it quaked. And then they saw a flash of lightning ahead of them. It was over where the tomb was. But it was weird because the whole of the sky was blue. It wasn't stormy. There wasn't really any clouds. But it was definitely lightning. And then they heard the most awful sound. It was like heavy stone scraping and grinding against heavy stone. And they looked at one another. And then they started running. And now the jars, they were clinking together frantically as the women ran towards the tomb. And as they got closer, they saw 2 guards face down on the ground. So the women helped them up. Are you all right? Oh, gosh, he's heavy. Come on. Are you okay? Hello? Are you all right? Do you know what day it is? Hello? Are you all right? He's not making much sense. Yeah, I can see that, Mary. It's going to be all right. Yeah, just take a breath in and a breath out. It's going to be all right. I think they've seen something. Yeah, I think they've seen something terrifying. Yeah, I think so. And the women, they slowly started to turn towards the tomb. And the tomb, it now had bright light coming from it. It was like looking directly at the sun. Whoa! Do not be afraid. Who was that? Was that you, Mary? No, I don't sound like that. That's not me. Who's there? Who is it? Who are you? Show yourself. Why are you looking for the living among the dead? What? What did he just say? They opened their eyes and they could just make out a man that was dressed in light. It's the best way I can describe him. He was dressed in light. And he said again, why are you looking for him here? Jesus is risen. He's no longer dead. And then he stepped out of the way of the tomb. And the women saw that the great big rock stone that had sealed the tomb had been rolled away, and now the tomb was yawning darkly before them. You go in. I'll come with you. No, you go. You go, Susanna. Shh. The tomb was dark. The tomb was cold. And the tomb was empty. Well, Susanna and Joanna, who was with Mary Magdalene, they freaked out. He's gone! He's gone! And they started running off. Where are you going? They'd gone. Mary didn't know what to do. So she staggered back out of the tomb and she stepped over the fumbling guards. And then she made her way through the olive grove. She didn't know what she was looking for, and the words just kept going through her head. He's not here, he's risen. I'm just thinking, he can't be risen. He was dead. How can he be alive? Is he alive? And then she heard something. It sounded like someone in the olive grove. It must be the gardener. Yes, it will be the gardener. He'll know where Jesus' body is. And so she ran to where she thought the sound was. But in running, she dropped all the jars of spices and perfumes on the floor. Oh, quick. Mary. It was him. And he looked at her, and pure love and pure joy radiated from him like the warm summer sun, and it filled her heart, and she felt whole, and she felt free, and she felt home. She ran up to him, and she threw her arms around him, and she clung tight, and she could feel his heart beating in his chest. You're alive. You're alive. We thought you were dead, but you're alive. Yes, Mary, he said, I'm alive. But you've got to go and tell the disciples, go and tell them that I'm alive. You can hold on to me later, Mary, but you must go now. Go on, Mary. Yes. Yeah. And she let go of him. I'll tell them. I'll tell them that you're alive. I'll tell them you're alive. Yes. And she ran to tell everybody. He's alive. I've seen him. He's alive. John, I've seen him. He's alive. He's alive. Matthew, he's alive. Honestly, I hugged him. I felt his heart beating in his chest. He's alive. Oh, he's alive. Thaddeus, he's alive. He's alive. He's alive. Bartholomew, he's alive. They all looked at her as if she was completely loopy. They looked at her with complete disbelief. But she knew what she'd seen. She looked into his eyes, the same eyes that had first seen her in her deepest, darkest moments. And even then, she felt that pure love and that pure joy. It radiated like the warm summer sun, and it had filled her heart. That same gaze that he gave her, she'd seen him, and he'd seen her. And she was alive. How could she be quiet? How could she hold it inside when she knew Jesus is alive?